All right, what are your all's names and what do you do for work?
I'm Dr. Owen Johnston,
I'm Dr. Myro.
and we are some of the PTs at Advanced Physical Therapy and Wellness.
And what did you like most about active release method?
That's a great question. So what I liked most about active release method was, particularly in the past when I was treating adhesions and restrictions and stuff in ranges of motion, I feel like I was taking like a shotgun approach. So I was using like cups, I was using like Graston tools to like break it up, I was using like deep tissue. And really active release method, I feel like gave me like a sniper rifle like approach to it. Instead of the shotgun, he really trained us in palpation skills specifically to be able to isolate, figure them out, and actually feel the tissue tension building, and then actually feeling of the separation between the muscle groups or the adhesion tearing. So that's what I like most.
Okay, so what I liked most was basically just gaining some more palpation skills. In PT school, they never taught us how to palpate nerves or adhesions or anything like that. So I found that really useful and really interesting to just have really soft hands and not press into them like we normally do with regular palpation. So that's what I liked most.
Yes, I've never felt nerves before. That was incredible to actually feel the nerves and feel like the adhesions around them and bowing them in different directions. That was huge.
Awesome, and what did you like most about the instructor? And who was your instructor?
So Chris from Barefoot Rehab was our instructor, but I also hear good things about some of the other instructors like Dr. Joe and stuff like that. But Chris has a very like balanced, kind of like soft, chill, collected energy. But then also too at the same time, when it's like kind of like game time, he's like no BSing, let's get into this. And he was very like quick to stay on point, as well as effectively teach and not overwhelm us too much. I feel like he just had a great overall like personality as an instructor, and then also too was getting feedback from us, and then was able to optimize our experience.
Yeah, so Chris was great. I really liked his energy and his tone. With such a technique that requires something very gentle and very slow, you need someone to talk very slow and gentle and not really high pitched or loud or anything like that. So I think that really helped with us learning the techniques.
How do you feel active release method will change your practice and or your life?
Okay, so well, it's already changed our practice for sure because we've already started using the methods. So basically we've been able to kind of like look, research, and before I come in for the day, I'll look at each individual of my patients. I'll try and do at least one of the techniques. And it's already really helped out. I mean, particularly with like the subscapularis release, I was doing an ART, but this thing like really improved it, or the neurovascular bundle has just like given me like incredible results like very quickly. And as far as the business is concerned, it's really helped kind of me start conceptualizing changes that we can make advanced physical therapy better, not only for our patients, but also for the clinicians too as well, because we're all about trying to save physical therapists from burnout over here. And I feel like we learned some insights on how Barefoot Rehab is able to do like documentation and stuff, working with like clinical assistants and stuff like that to take some of the pressure and the work off the therapist. And it's something that I would like to kind of start working on getting to do in our business, so that the therapist can really work on mostly patient care and helping patients, and not having to deal with some of the other like kind of not necessarily tedious or boring stuff, but I mean it takes bandwidth. I'd rather the bandwidth be focused only on the patient and getting them better.
So I think it'll really help because it just gives us a really good tool to use in our toolbox to just help treat a lot of our patients. I know a lot of times, sometimes I feel like there's always something missing with one of my patients, like I can't quite get them to that full 100%. So I'm sure once I master this technique and this skill, I'll be able to get them there.
What do other people in your life think about you becoming an adhesion specialist?
Oh, great question. So when we started posting it on like Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, I'm friends and I know a lot of physical therapists and stuff. Like my buddy Joey, the owner of Comeback PT over in Colorado, he was like, dude, my mom saw that you got an adhesion specialist come into your clinic to like teach you this stuff. He's like, dude, I cannot wait to be on the same level as you, to where I can like get people in and like do that sort of stuff. And then I had my other buddy, Thomas Vickers, who's a physical therapist. And he's like, dude, that barefoot rehab guys come into your clinic. He's like, dude, I use this technique on a patient in home health that had like sciatica and stuff. And he's like, and I use the exact technique. He's like, I had to like bring it up and then expose it because it was sliding down with the joint. He's like, I treated her 2 times and he was like, and it was gone. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool from like my friends, peers, and other business owners for sure. And then also to like patients that have reached out literally to our Instagram, said, I see you follow Barefoot. Like, do you do adhesion release? And we're like, oh, well, I do ART, and then I got ghosted. So I'm really looking forward to answering that potential patient saying, yes, we do adhesion release method. And here's pictures and videos to prove that Chris trained us. And we're continuing to learn and train.
Awesome. So the only people I've really told are some of our patients that ask like how it went, things like that. And they seem a little excited when I tell them like, yeah, once I master it a little bit, then I'll start using it on them, and they get a little excited about that. So.
Oh yeah, and Allie, I heard really good feedback from the guy from the workshop today. He was like, what did you do? I'm pretty sure it was that subscapularis release based on what we were talking about. And either that was neurovascular bundle, I'm not sure, but he was like blown away and he was saying, dude, it feels so much better today.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I did do it on him yesterday. But I did it solo without my assistant.
Oh, nice job though, hey, making adjustments.
And how was your experience different with ARM training compared to other continuing education courses?
So that's a great question. So other continuing education courses are great. I feel like some of the differences are a lot of those courses we spent a lot of time doing boring stuff, like learning a lot of research and like what this study says or what this study says, and a lot of lecture. Instead of having like a lot of lecture, it was a lot of hands-on. And because one of the biggest skills was the hands-on skill, the palpation, the skills, and the actual of like moving of the joints and stuff like that, with the tension clocking it and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And I feel like another thing was just like a really nice touch of like personal development that I think that Chris put in the program. And it seemed like he asked us like where we were at, where we wanted to go, and how we wanted to get there. And then also too, maybe some things that would get in the way of us getting there, and then things that would facilitate us getting there. So then we could actually think about how we wanted to implement these things, how we wanted to impact the patient's lives, and then also to start to look at some of the things that may get in the way of that. So it brought some things to light and made me like work on myself even a little bit, just to not only make these goals of becoming an adhesion specialist and continuing to have better outcomes for our patients, but also to like my business and life too as well, how I'm gonna assist and lead and grow that with the team.
Nice. So definitely hands-on right from the start, beginning to end. That really helped keep me engaged and things like that. And I forgot what else I was gonna say after that. What was the question again?
Compared to other continuing education courses.
Oh, okay, yeah, so I liked how it was a shorter or a smaller group. It was just 3 therapists, so he was able to really teach us one-on-one pretty well.
How did you feel about the in-person Accelerator course?
Oh, so that's a good question too. So the cool thing about the Accelerator course is it's in person, and so I got really confident and comfortable, like feeling, like you said, the nerves, and also too feeling the adhesions and feeling them tearing. I mean, the instructions, hold on a second. Okay. The instructions online, they're great. The trainings online are great. And I've used the techniques and gotten some positive outcomes with them, but not nearly as good. And I didn't really necessarily know what I was doing. So it was basically like a confidence booster, and to make sure that I knew what I was feeling and to know that I actually executed the treatment correctly, and then had good like test, treat, retest, and then also to seeing how like the exam flow worked and stuff like that, and how they run their business too.
And then it was really good to do it in person too, because when I put my hands on somebody, he was able to put his hands on top of me, apply the correct pressure, and he was even able to feel the adhesions and everything moving through the vibration of my hands. So I thought that was really helpful.
And how do you feel about the Discord, team Zoom calls, online training, and other resources provided?
So the Discord, the Zoom calls and like the online training, I think are brilliant. I think it's amazing that somebody is actually like taking like a concept or some sort of continuing education piece or treatment technique and then creating like a community out of it. I think this is the first time that I've actually seen this with a treatment technique. All it usually is just like you get some things in the mail or someone told you about something, or like when we took a Con Ed course from here, then it was like, all right, cool. Then afterwards it was like up to us individually to just like do it, unless we had friends or team members that took the course with us, which usually isn't the case. So now it's like, sweet, we have continuous like learning and growing. So we can continue to learn and grow on the Zoom calls that are very well structured, as well as if we have any like challenges or even wins and lessons, and questions, we're able to go to the Discord and then ask. And then not only we're like Barefoot Rehab and their team like reach back out to us, but also to their mentors over in St. Louis, and then some of the other people, like maybe even kind of like newer people or newbies like us, they can share their struggles, which might be similar. So we can connect with people that are on high levels, low levels, mid levels, and then ultimately like learn the method better to make our patients better, stronger, faster, for longer.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the Discord too, and how Chris was saying that we can go in there and talk about when we're having trouble with any patients, and people will be there to chip in and help you out. And the online courses are great too, because you can always pause them and keep going, or you can always read the notes at the bottom. He'll have it all written out for you, each step that he's doing with his body and his technique and everything like that.
What kind of support have you received from the ARM team?
Oh, the support from the ARM team is like unmatched. Like when we email out, they're quick to respond. I mean, even I've been able to text them, and then I get text backs in return. I couldn't say that I'm more satisfied with somebody that's teaching a method and feel more supported. So it's been great.
I haven't reached out to the ARM team, but I know Chris is pretty good at getting back to me as far as emails and things like that. So,
how did you feel about the cost?
So the cost, I think was fair. Fair meaning like comparing to like other Con Ed courses. In fact, maybe it's a little bit cheaper, but if one looks at it this way, like essentially the method that we learned and the techniques that we learned and the business concepts and ideas and self-development concepts and ideas really make me like look at it like, okay, seriously, if I just get like 1 or 2 patients in the door and use this method to get them better, then the return on investment's already there, just for like 1 or 2 patients. But in terms of the amount of patients' lives that I know that we're going to impact with this technique is priceless.
Great. And what was your all's number one takeaway?
mine was body leverage, soft hands.
Okay. Number one takeaway. I think I like talked about like all these things. I mean, pretty much similar. Body leverage, soft hands coming in, and then the
slow is smooth. What did he say?
Smooth is fast.
slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Also do palpate slow, setup slow, and like I said, like I'm just baffled that I was able to feel nerves for the first time, like other than like dissecting them out when we were in like PT school and stuff like that. So it was cool to actually physically feel them, and that sniper rifle like approach. I really dig that for sure.
All right.
Did it.
Thank you, Barefoot Rehab.
Sweet.
Okay.